We have an ongoing joke at the Aquanime about RIP Uncle Phil. Uncle Phil is the greatest father that we ever knew. We decide to get someone pregnant, we'll try to be a better you. Even if you don't know this person, he revolutionized what it meant to be a role model to fatherless people. It's kind of sad because nowadays, if we see certain things, we call it fatherless behavior. Is it wrong most of the time? Not really. I seen things online and thought, you know, where your daddy at? You know, you ever think about, like, you ever see something viral on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter and you're like, how does this person, like, what happened to this person? Like, yo, where are your role models at, bro? Did you even have any? What are you doing? But even people with supportive family acts, they still do things like this too. I've had both parents in my life and I still sometimes do fatherless behavior. We all do wild things sometimes where if your dad was there doing their job, they tell you to chill out. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, we're nobody's perfect. If I'm being honest, I think a lot of fatherless behavior is related to someone's interest in debauchery, like degeneracy. And let me explain, because when I think of degeneracy, I mean, degeneracy is a subjective thing, but here's the thing. I feel like a father's job involves multiple levels of things. First, which a lot of fathers lack, is attendance. To do a job, you have to show up. If you don't show up to your job, work doesn't get done. A lot of fathers simply don't show up to work. That's like the basic requirement to even start doing anything as a father. Anyone here who worked or has worked before, what happens when an employee doesn't show up? Everyone else got to do more work and things get sloppy. Things get unfinished. When things get unfinished, the quality of the product or whatever the business is focused on gets worse or starts to degenerate. So when a father isn't around, when they can be, it shows enough about their character. Just saying. This would be a different case if someone's father was in jail or prison. They're taken away from society. It may still have been irresponsibility to why they're taken away from society. But, you know, you're in jail. You still can't show up to work. It still makes you non-attentive as a father. Now, here's the second thing. I feel that a father should be doing at least. It's education. Oftentimes, you emulate and learn from people who are a father figure to you, even from a distance. I know some of y'all, and I've been this way too. Sometimes you follow someone on social media and they're somewhat like of a big brother or a father figure to you, or maybe a big sister. And that's okay, depending on the person, of course, subjectively speaking. But then some of the things you watch or learn from them, you copy or get inspired by. And before we even get to that point, though, the first person who's supposed to do that for you, though, is your father. And that father is supposed to continue doing that as you get older. It may not be as impactful because even psychology will tell you at a certain age, children get more influenced by their social environment than their parents. Kids nowadays are learning more from TikTok than their parents. But all those years prior to that, being influenced by society and their environment and the people around them, the other kids around them, the real educator was supposed to be your parents. And I'm going to emphasize parents because I feel I misspoke. A mother can also be an educator too. I said I feel like a father's job should be an educator. A mother can also do that. It's just that when I put the point on the father being the educators, there's a certain unique bond that a father has with their son or daughter. This dynamic is always unique, that you can only get that from them. We're in a time period where, yes, I know, gender roles are more open and flexible. Despite this being the case, this does not change that the bond a father should have with their child will always be unique. Same with the mother and the child. You'll have a unique bond with your mom. Like, there are certain things that I feel only a father figure can truly teach a child. We can go back to old times, to all the way modern times. Society has always put an expectation of men to be strong and resilient. Having emotions as men has been shunned for so long. But, you know, even though men are told not to be so emotional and people don't put into consideration their mental health all the time because we're supposed to be macho according to societal standards. That's what a man, you got to be a man, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like we can still have strength. But I feel, in my opinion, A true man must be strong, but have compassion and empathy. You got to know how to balance that with your life. Yeah, I could be rough around the edges and hard to break down, but I still have to have a huge heart where I can show kindness and sympathy. That is something you have to learn as a man, especially with the pressure and the expectations society puts down. But you can be taught this early by somebody more experienced, somebody who went through it already, somebody who understands it rather. You can teach your son to be strong, but if you don't teach them how to have a huge heart, then do you understand the impact that it will have on their interactions? And you can say the opposite can be said if you only have a mom in your life. You may only learn certain aspects because of societal standards of what women are expected to be like in society, that you don't learn some of the things that men are supposed to have the expectations for, like the resilience part, like, again, the macho part. And I don't know, when I grew up, my father, he's a very responsible person and a worker, right? I adopted that. I'm always working on stuff, and I love my father, but no man is flawless. Everything my father does, and this has split us apart, even to this day. We're not even on speaking terms right now. My father, everything he does, you have to pay for it. What does this mean? If he does anything around the house or any responsibility as he's supposed to do, we got to hear about it for the next hour or so. Everyone in the family. Oh, you know I did this. Oh, you know that. This, that. Like, yo, you want us to bow down to you every day? Yo, before I started recording this video, I was outside picking up the dog poop. The dogs, they poop in the backyard, right? So I picked up the poop, put it in the bag, and then I went inside, washed the dishes, put away any dry dishes, and then, you know, I got laundry right now going on. And I mean, what does this sound like to y'all, right? It sounds like I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. Like, I do this consistently, but you don't hear me talk about it like every video that I'm washing my dishes and picking up the dog poop. I own 2 dogs and I cook. That's what I'm supposed to do. It's responsibility. Just do the work and be quiet. With him, we got to hear him brag about it. And it aggravates everyone in the family, even people who don't live with him. And he always has to, like, he's been like this since I was a kid. And I adopted that from him. See, when I became an adult myself and I started taking care of stuff, I felt like I always needed validation from it. Actually, I don't know why I said when I became an adult. When I was a teenager, like, this, I learned this from him. When I was supposed to do stuff I was supposed to, like, I would do my homework. Bro, I had to tell the whole world about it. I had to brag when I finished my homework. Like, but that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do my homework. No need to brag about something you're supposed to do. But I'm copying my father and my mom. See, and this is the impact of doing stuff like that and how it can influence a household. My mom, she'd be like, Andre, you didn't do this and you didn't do this when I'm not around the house. And P.S., my mom is never home, right? She's home like 2 days per month. And my dad is always in another country, so he's gone for like months. I'm always home alone, besides like 2 days of the week because of my mom, right? And that's why I'm like, there's no point of moving out. I have a place to myself, so I just have to maintain it like you would do at any other living space, like paying for certain things and everything like that. But she would be like, oh, you didn't do this. But turns out I really did it. You're not home, so you don't know. You're just so used to hearing your husband yap for 20 minutes every time he does something. I just do it and don't say anything because I understand how it feels when someone does that to me. So I won't do it to other people. And boom, see? Full circle moment. That's a compassion and sympathy moment. Because I didn't like what someone does to me, so I'm not going to do it to other people. But I had to learn that part. Because remember, before I just used to copy him. Speaking of having a heart and women, a father figure is the first perspective of how it is to treat a woman. As a son, you see how they interact with women. It sets an example. So when a father teaches respect, equality, and so forth, it teaches the child the same concepts, which is why I said earlier, when you look up to certain people on social media and how they speak about certain types of people out there, it could be damaging depending on the ideology, subjectively to you. I've seen people say things on social media with a lot of followers about women, for example. And I'm confused how this makes sense. I don't even agree with it, but I see a bunch of people eating it up anyway. And you know how social media works. Just because somebody has a lot of followers or they get a lot of likes on something, it must be true. But again, subjectivity. All of this brings up a point here. Listen, We have so many resources now to get information and educate ourselves. Just because your daddy ain't around, there's no excuse to not look for self-improvement. My bad. Like, it's not an excuse, but I understand why not having your father around can really ruin things for you and the way you think. The day I decide to become a father, if that day ever happens, like I said last episode, I'm hitting 30 soon. I haven't been thinking about having a kid now, but I've been thinking about, you know what? I'm kind of done with this, you know, I want to be with someone I could start a family with one day. I'm kind of done with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of done with everything else. Like, for real. I'm not trying to experiment. You know, I'm not really into the looks like that. Like, I just want to be with someone who's like this and that. Someone who I feel like knows me inside out and I know them inside out. And, you know, we can start a family, and that's what we both care about. We can both start building towards that objective. I don't know how to explain this, but like, I'm not perfect right now. Obviously, I don't think I would be a good parent right now for several reasons, but you know, I like to be with somebody who's also imperfect, but we both understand that we're not ready yet, but we're going to work towards that to be compatible enough to be parents. And, I know exactly what I want now. You know, I know 30 is kind of young still for a family, but still, I'm just personally been thinking about it. Everything I've been saying in this video, I thought about before. I want to be a better role model. I haven't always been. Even to some of y'all who look up to me as a big brother or anything else. I haven't always been completely good, as you've been aware. I've been very imperfect. I've been very open about my imperfections too. And I think that's something that I learned very early on. Just be open with your vulnerabilities, even though that could backfire. I can imagine some people, I've seen it too sometimes in comments, some people use it against me. Like, okay, I'm being open about something. And then some people, they'll mention it later, like in like videos from like a long time ago. It's like, but you know what? I don't like to hide stuff like that. Yeah. Like, yes, I got to work on my mental health. Yes, I got to start being more consistent with music and videos again. Yes, I got to start shaping up a little bit more, but I felt like my life fell apart this year, and it really did. But I'm working to get everything back together. And I think that's the story of strength and resilience. And when that time comes to be a father, I can truly teach that from my experience. And even some of you can look at the journey and see how everything evolved. You can look at your own journey too. It takes time, but I have faith in it. It's just very difficult for me internally. And things will reshape itself, such as life. This episode is also found on Spotify and YouTube. I never made a music video for this, but let's put Times Square as the outro. Nightmare 7 a.m. in the morning though. No surprise. Times Square's you and I under those lights. No disguise. Don't tell me everything you wanted was a lie. All those city lights, it's an endless night. Never expected you to bring me so much life. Close my eyes too long, then it's time to say goodbye. Let's dance all night until the stars don't show glow. Till the sunrise, then we go solo. Making up for all the times that we were low. Let's make some memories before we do go. Let's dance all night until the stars don't show glow. Till the sunrise, then we go solo. Making up for all the times that we were low. Let's make some memories before we do go. Caution. Wait a moment, keep my heart locked away, it's filled with emotion. Gave the key to you, right in front of you is open. Hey, try your best to not leave it broken.